All right. Robocop Rouge City releases in September. It's coming up. It's right around the corner. So, I mean, listen, y'all, get your hard drives and your PCs ready, for the upcoming movie-based Robocop Rouge City game. But that said, should we be worried about the upcoming movie-based first-person shooter from developer Tayon, I'm pretty sure I'm saying that wrong, but essentially from the same hands and minds that brought us Terminator Resistance and Rambo the video game. Two games that have their gripes and complaints. Sure, I haven't played Terminator Resistance, and I sure as hell ain't played Rambo the video game, but Terminator Resistance, I know Skitty played it, so maybe he had to share his thoughts on the podcast. But again, I didn't really play Terminator Resistance, and I didn't play it at all. I was super interested in it, but didn't think at the time it was worth any more than $20. I know it had a super small campaign, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I know it didn't release for what a typical AAA game might go for. I believe it released for 50 USD. And even then, I still didn't want to pony out. I didn't want to put on the bag. I didn't want to put up the bag for it running even that much. But if there's one thing we can definitely, or without a doubt, say that Tayon, I'm just gonna call him Tayon for now, they captured the world of both Terminator and Rambo in both those video games. I thought the character model for Sylvester Stallone's Rambo looked a little off, but I mean, if you look at the trailer, it kind of just looks like Rambo with Far Cry. So it's like Far Cry, Rambo, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. But it looked like the developers did a solid job with capturing the vibe of even Rambo and Terminator, especially with just the lasers and how detailed the environments are and just how the Terminators look themselves. But again, this is Tayon, and it's the same minds behind both those video games. They're getting ready to drop another classic 80s action-inspired game with Robocop Rouge City. In case you haven't seen the gameplay trailers or the trailers that release. And while Peter Weller is returning to voice Alex Murphy, for those of you young cats, you whippersnappers, I don't know if they still use that term, but you younger folk, that's the actor who voiced Robocop in Robocop 1 and 2. We're not gonna talk about 3. We're just not gonna talk about 3.
We can't have that.
But Peter Weller is coming back to voice Alex Murphy, everybody's favorite mechanical cop. And the game is canonical, taking place between Robocop 2 and Robocop 3. But should we be worried for the up and down 30-hour, what appears to be repetitive rail shooter that Rouge City is shaping up to be? Well, yes, but here's why I also think Rouge City will still be fine, but why we should also still very much be worried. So going in, when you're first looking at the gameplay trailer, and especially if you have headphones on, or you can hear the audio mixed with the trailer, you start to automatically pick up, and you hear the walking tank, the classic footsteps that Robocop makes while he's walking. But immediately after that, you begin to notice that the game is beginning to look a little too easy.
I'm having trouble.
It's kind of like you have this combination of auto aim plus infinite ammo and a walking tank. And so those three things, I mean, Robocop is like, he's his own boss. Like when he shows up in the levels, he is the boss the enemies are trying to defeat, if you think about it, right? Because auto aim, too easy. Having infinite ammo, which I love the gun, right? It's badass, but infinite ammo. And he's a walking tank. But if you look at the trailer, I mean, look at the gameplay, look at the trailer. He's just walking through and just mowing down enemies with your pistol and the infinite ammo. So you can pick up other weapons. That's highlighted in the trailer, right? Like you can pick up other weapons, and when they run out of ammo, you just drop it. Which, I mean, come on, what would you want to use other than Robocop's pistol, right? Other than that sidearm. What other weapon would you want to use in the game? At least none that they showed us in the trailer thus far. But the level of difficulty is in question here, y'all. It's very sus. I will say it's very sus. I am not a fan of the infinite ammo. Maybe there should be like some type of cooldown factor or something to that effect. Maybe you can't use it all the time. Like, what's the point of picking up any other weapon? The auto aim feature, hopefully that's something that's not going to be, passive, and maybe that's only once in a blue moon. But if you look at the enemy types, which is a perfect segue into my next concern or gripe as to why we should be worried with Robocop Rouge City, and as the lack of enemy and variety types and weapons. It's one thing to be a walking tank with unlimited ammo, a semi-automatic sidearm, and auto aim. I mean, those three things alone, my gosh. Who you gonna send after him, John Wick?
Yeah.
Shooting normal humans more than one time, like a robot John Wick, will get old fast. And in the trailer, we see nothing but normal C-list or D-list enemies that just sit there and shoot at Alex while he's walking towards him. And he has auto aim, and he's essentially a tank. He can take, a lot of incoming fire, and his pistol has infinite ammo. They're humans. Really, 2-3 shots, they should be one and done. Again, you gotta suspend belief here in a game like Robocop. But come on, in the movie, he shot his enemies 1-2 times. They dropped, unless they might have had armor or something on, like to that effect. Now, in the trailer, we did see a small glimpse of the ED-209. Looks to pop up towards the back end of the trailer. Not sure if that's going to be like some type of mini boss or something to that effect. Something, Alex might have to fight every once in a while. Oh my gosh. I hope to think that's not the final boss or the only boss we're going to get in the game. I mean, the developer Tyon might have to, pull some interesting ideas and really give us something other than ED-209 that Alex Murphy has to face, or that's going to be a formidable foe. But without any enemies that have either body armor or some type of mechanical ally or something like that, just shooting regular enemies, just shooting regular humans is going to get old quick. The gameplay is going to get old very quick. The coolness and the nostalgia of playing as Robocop, right, and shooting enemies with that auto 9, it's going to grow old very fast. And this also attributes to two factors: that inevitable gameplay loop, which we're going to talk about a little bit down this video, and the fact that the game won't feel difficult. It's just going to be too easy. Early in this video, I mentioned that it's a glorified rail shooter, and you look at the trailer, it's lining up to be that very exact thing, a glorified rail shooter. But looking at the environment and Robocop, the model itself, I mean, it looks good. It looks detailed. That's one thing I will say that initially, just looking at the very few set pieces and scenes we got in the gameplay trailer and how detailed and intricately woven the city of Detroit is illustrated here. I mean, just right out of the movies. The cop cars all look the same. The police officer uniforms all look the same. And again, Robocop as a model looks good and detailed. I mean, there's a lot of detail in environments. You can see there might be some ray trace console corporate magic going on there if this footage isn't captured on a PC, which it more than likely is. But there may be some ray casting and reflective shadows going on here in the game. They might be off a little bit here and there, but for the most part, it looks like it's an environment that you would want to spend walking every 2 to 3 miles per hour as Robocop. The developer said we'll hear NPCs and characters interact with Robocop. You kind of could see that and hear that in the trailer. And there'll be side quests that you can do to interact with the people in the city, and which would also unlock things like their favor and their trust. But I will say it may take some getting used to looking at the character models. I don't know, y'all. They look a little bit off to me, like a little rubbery, or all the detail went into the environments and not into the NPCs, or all the details went into the environments in Robocop. So while, yeah, you'll be able to do some side quests and mosey on about the city like a little tank with auto aim and an unlimited auto 9 Beretta base sidearm. But how much of Robocop 2's story will connect with the main plot of the game? But that's one thing the trailer didn't give us next to near at all. Early on, the developers tell us that Alex has to go stop a group of thugs who has infiltrated, or a gang who's infiltrated the one of the news networks, and Alex and your partner that's returning also from the movies has to go and put a stop to it. I don't know why Alex Murphy, Robocop needs a partner. But yeah, how will this connect with the story of Robocop 2? The game is canonical, so it's supposed to be able to bridge the gap between 2 and 3. And we just have to see what that all is going to entail. But the game is less than 2 months away from releasing. So what we see is pretty much all we're going to get. With its presumed $60 to $70 price tag, I'm afraid Rouge City's cost simply won't justify the short gameplay loop FPS games often suffer from. And again, being that it's little too late to make any significant changes to the game. I see Robocop Rouge City being passable at a $40, like a $39.99, not bad, a $40 to maybe a $50 game with planned DLC. And that's really pushing it. That's right up there with Terminator Resistance. And Robocop Rouge City, as much as I enjoy Robocop and I like the look, the feel, the vibe, I can't simply see this game really having much there to justify it being $50. I mean, after an hour, 2 hours most, playing as Robocop is going to get old. Trailer hasn't really showed as much. I mean, you watch the gameplay videos and you kind of get bored just from watching somebody else play the game, because it's the same thing. You walk into a room, you clear the room. What's the point of even having an unlimited Auto 9, an unlimited firearm, if Alex Murphy can essentially punch the bad guys to death? But a little bit of foresight here. I mean, we're going to review Robocop. We're going to play it. We're trying to introduce more games here to the Unlimited Max catalog. But at first glance, judging early on from previews and just other articles that I've read, and I've been following the game since it's been announced, it's looking like Robocop Rouge City will more than likely barely score above a 6 out of 10 among critics, with enough nostalgia inside to make it playable and still worth experiencing the long-awaited Robocop game. But with that said, that's all I got, y'all. It's been your boy Lab here. If you haven't yet, like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know if you're interested in playing Robocop or any other games you would like a similar video essay based on. Again, it's been your boy Lab, and I'll catch you all in the next one. So until then, be easy.